My name is Jennifer Perez. I am the one whom God has shown mercy. The mercy of the Lord is unique and unconditional. It is not because of what one has done or will ever do. That mercy is never earned or can ever be merited. I want to say that heaven and hell are real. Don't be fooled or silly. And if you love yourself, avoid any or everything that will take you to hell. Here is my experience. On the 2nd of May 19, I was taken to heaven and hell. It all started like this. Prior to this day, I had a guy in my life whom I supposed to be my friend. But the event on that day made me realize he is not a friend, but a fiend. We like each other, but the relationship was purely on platonic level. I had been a Christian, but not a religious person and not committed to Christ. I usually kept Sunday services, but pay little attention to evening services. Despite being a Christian, I was given to drugs. On this fateful day, we had evening service in the church. My parents were prepared to go and persuaded me to join them. I didn't want to, and I had my way. Proverbs 14, verse 14, it says, 14, the backslider in heart should be filled with his own ways. After they left this, my guy persuaded me that we should go out in the night and promised me that nothing weird will happen, and I gave my consent. After a while, my both parents came back from the church and went to their room. When it was time for the outing, the doors were shut, and I would not want to open any door another, not to breach their trust on me. So I had to use the window. It was a 2-story building, but I didn't consider it risky to adventurous jump down. I did, but guess what? Our God is mysterious. Nothing happened to me. So I jetted away. I met my friend in the company of other 2 guys and a lady in a car. I was a bit skeptical, but would not want to express it. They could still deduce my dubiety, but firmly assured me of safety and protection. So we took off. And to my amazement, I was taken to a motel. They knew I was curious, but before I could say anything, they started all over again to give me confidence that they will not try anything silly, that I am in a safe arms. I have to trust them for friendship's sake. In the motel, they left me at a laundry service room saying they want to go and pick up another friend. I said, okay, but I knew within me they were going to win. I gave them my trust. I thought they would never hurt me, but I was gullible. I really didn't know who my friends were. They came back and led me to a room, and we got chatting. After a while, I was the one that suggested we should go and get something to drink. So went to a restaurant in front of the motel and bought Sprites and returned back to our room. They started pouring the Sprites into cups. I didn't see them with any strange or suspicious thing, so I was relaxed and carefree. It all looked simple and innocent. So I went to the restroom to fix my hair and to do some girls' things. When I came back, my cup was already served. I had gum in my mouth and strawberry, and I drank what I suppose was Sprite. But this was the last I could remember. The next time I gained my consciousness was on hospital bed. However, in the hospital, something strange happened. After I sipped the Sprite in the motel, I didn't know anything again. But suddenly I saw myself in the hospital. Strange enough, I saw my real self standing and my real self again on a hospital bed. I could see doctors and nurses all around me on the bed. It was bizarre. Sight was not like when you are looking in a mirror, the reflection of your image. What I was seeing was not a reflection, but my real body on the bed and my real self standing beside. Thereafter, I turned and saw 2 hefty men. They are in red cloth. They have strong bearing. Come our wedding. They said and took hold of me, one at each hand, and carried me away. We went to an amazingly beautiful place without being told. I knew it was heaven. The first thing I saw was a magnificent wall. It was white tower, very high and stretched out so far that it didn't have any end. In the wall, I saw a portal, but it was closed. Then I remembered that in the Old Testament, Moses speaks of the tabernacle and describes its features. And I remember this and saw that the wall looked like it. Right beside the portal, there was a large throne. There was a smaller one beside it, even at the right side of it. They both looked like pure gold. Then also I looked on my right side. I saw a black portal. It's disgusting, irritating. But on my left-hand side, there was beauties indescribable. Everything was in perfect order and harmony, the setting of the trees and grasses, the crystal clear waterfall, etc. It was such a peaceful place, but nobody was there. I was still looking while standing enthralled. Suddenly there was before me a strange, awesome being. Immediately I became aware that he is the Father. I couldn't see his face because of the mighty glory that was oozing from him. It was indescribably brilliant and lit up the whole heaven. This glory made everything in heaven bright and radiant. There was no sun, moon, or stars. He is the light. I saw his body and it was with the sun. They were one inside each other. They are together. This knowledge is too wonderful and mysterious to articulately express. Right beside them were 2 angels, Michael and Gabriel. At first sight, you could know them, for their names are written on their forehead in gold. While I was standing before the Father, I felt so dirty, I fell to my knees and was sorely crying. Romans 14, verse 11. For it is written, as I live, saith the Lord, every knee shall bow to me, and every tongue shall confess to God. I crying and also was very ashamed of myself before him. 1 John 2, verse 28. And now, little children, abide in him, that when he shall appear, we may have confidence and not be ashamed before him. It is coming. I couldn't lift up my face to see them, the Father and the Son. Even if I could, I wouldn't do that because I was so filthy, unworthy, and ashamed of myself. While I was there in front of the Lord, he made me to see the play of my life, like a movie. From the inception of my life till when I appeared before him, nothing before him was hidden. Hebrews 4, verse 13. Neither is there any creature that is not manifest in his sight, but all things are naked and opened unto the eyes of him with whom we have to do. He told me that the most consequential part of my life were my deeds after my conversion. I had paraded myself as a Christian, but in reality, I was never one. I didn't bear the fruits of the Spirit, but was just a Christian by mere nomenclature, and now I am facing the consequences of my hypocritical life. I was told that I was not worthy of Christ in this kingdom, and that hell is the destination of the kind of life I chose while I was in the world. Immediately, Angel Gabriel came and took me by my arm and bore me away through that disgusting portal. I didn't want the transport at all, but couldn't resist, and we were at the other side of that ugly portal. It was a dense darkness all around. I couldn't see myself. It was a void or vacuum. We were falling into what place I didn't know, and the more we were rolling downward, the more it was getting hotter. Though if my eyes opened in this place, I couldn't have seen anything, still I closed my eyes for fear. The experience was indescribably horrible. After a while, we landed in a place. It's a road, and I opened my eyes. I didn't know where we were or where the road leads. In this place or road, my first experience was thirst. I started feeling serious thirsty. I kept telling the angel that I'm thirsty, but he seemed to turn a deaf ear to me. I started crying for thirst, but that did not elicit mercy from him. I must say here that the mercy you did not obtain here, you cannot get it there. Jude 1, verse 21, keep yourselves in the love of God, looking for the mercy of our Lord Jesus Christ unto eternal life. While I was crying, I soon realized that my tears were evaporating from my cheeks. The place was tensed with foul miasma of sulfur. It smells like the burning of tires. I tried to prevent the smell of the offensive odor by covering my nose, but the effort was completely futile. In fact, covering my nose made the situation worse. Also, all the hair on my body melted away like as wax melts before the fire. We got to a place I was feeling all the heat. I looked around and saw people in excruciating agony. They were being tortured by demons. I saw a lady, she was brutally tormented by a demon. The demon was extremely ruthless. Honestly, this thing called mercy was absolutely absent there. To these demons is like their greatest comfort. Happiness, satisfaction, joy, and fulfillment come from the torture they measure to the people. So they do it without any iota of feeling and beyond imagination. The demon tormenting this lady has a long spear with which he was stabbing her with all cruelty everywhere in her body. In her eyes, ears, hands, nails, feet, etc. She was crying profusely in agony. Also, I saw another demon tormenting a young man of about 21, 23. The young man has a chain around his neck and was beside a pit of fire. Like the other demons, this one has a long spear, also with which he stabs the young man mercilessly. He was doing it with all cruelty. He would grab the guy's hair and with the chain in and cast him into the pit of fire. After a while, he would bring him out and continue the cycle. Anytime the guy is in the pit of fire, I would not hear his cries, but when he was pulled out of the pit, he would wail with heart-melting agony. I couldn't bear his agony. So I tried to stop my ears because of the horrible sound of agonizing wailing, but still I could hear them. Yet again, I saw another demon. He was ugly and horrible to the core to look upon. The other two were ugly though, but this one's ugliness was something else. As I looked at him, I could see attributes of many different animals. The sight was inexplicable. His job was to go about every nook and cranny to frighten people. He looked so scary and people were really scared by him. Still, I saw another demon. This one looks beautiful. In fact, he looks beautiful like the angel of God. But difference is that they don't have their names written on their forehead with gold as the angels of God have. At this juncture, I turned around and to see the angel Gabriel. He was looking up with rapt attention. Seeing his posture, I suppose he didn't want to see the people being tortured. Then mused, why is he still here? I was so scared that any moment I would start facing torture like others. I was also very thirsty out of anxiety. I cried out to the angel, "I am thirsty." He turned to me, so I thought he heard me, but to my surprise, it's not to grant me my request. He said that the Lord is granting you one more chance. This is too good to be true. Immediately he said this to me. All my body lit up with life. It was like life comes life. All my thirst gone, all my agony. Fears and anxiety gone. All my pains and hurting gone. I felt relief and peaceful. Let me say here, that hell is a place of unexplainable, inexplicable, indescribable torture, torment, and excruciating agony. But what makes it most miserable is ESE. It is a place of utter hopelessness. There is no hope in hell. They say time is a great healer. But I think it's not really time, but hope. The hope that with time it's going to get better. Cushion the excess effect of the pins or burden. The thought of hopelessness on my way to hell, not yet in hell, activates and aggravates the thirst of a kind that is indescribable. That right in hell, the words of hope killed the thirst. The angel took hold of my hand, and as we were about to rise, I heard my name, "Jennifer, help me, help me." I looked around to see who it was that called me. I couldn't see her, but the voice sounds feminine, for she was densely engulfed in the flame. But I could see a hand stretch out of the fire, wanting me to help. Oh, how I desired to help, but it was absolutely impossible. Her chance of hope has utterly expired. Make haste while the sun's up. Afterwards, I looked around and saw lots of my friends who are dead. In fact, some of them are from my school and other familiar faces. It hurt me. As I saw them, I was thinking maybe it was as the result of my bad example or influence that made them to come here. It hurts me the more. May our lives tell for Jesus. I said I was a Christian, but my life was not telling for Jesus. In fact, when they saw my life, they would not want to follow Jesus. My testimony was not good at all. They are already in hell, and I cannot explain why mercy would save me. God is God. His way is beyond researchers finding out. When I saw them in hell, I felt I was the one that led them into it. Honestly, that was what I thought in hell. I also discovered that there is no time, nothing like past, devil, present, or future every year. Everything is the same. The angel took me back to God's presence. I fell down on my knees and began to cry again. The Lord said to I love you, his love is great. You could feel it. He showed me a lot of mysteries and things that will happen till the catching up of the saints. I want to say again that heaven is real and the hell is real. Hell is not a place one should go. The sufferings there is beyond what mouth could tell. Please, I beg, do all things escape it. Jesus is the way out of hell. Blessed be his holy name, and blessed be his holy saints.